It's Minnesota, it's hockey season, and you know we've got the coverage here on Sports Path.
That's right, Sam. We've got highlights of the 4AA boys hockey tournament at Aldrich Arena.
And that includes the championship rematch between the Stillwater Ponies and the Hill-Murray Pioneers. Last year, Stillwater won in overtime. This year, it's the Pioneers. Stay tuned as we take you down the Sports Path.
Ball finds the hole up the middle.
Steps up, goes deep left side. Receiver open, count it. Touchdown, Titans! Takes a nice shot outside the goal box, and he will break the 0-0 tie. Fantastic shot by Kenloff Solon.
Giller makes a move, a good one. Opportunity here, and the Bears score! The Bears strike first.
He's at the 40. He's down to the 30, the 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Jalen Bryan. Why not? What a beautiful run.
Maureen there, fights her off the puck. Opportunity here, another sit, and a goal!
Second chance effort for the Pioneers.
Put the icing on the cake, if you will, Michael. Go down and got to the outside and said good evening and good night.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Sam Erickson, John Miller, as always, with you here on Sports Path. Well, the hockey season is coming to a close. Section play tournaments have just wrapped up, and the state tournament actually began today. Well, let's not forget about basketball. We'll have some basketball coverage as well, but I think we're going to start things off today with the social media montage. So, John, why don't you get us started with that?
Yeah, we've kind of had a break from it for about a month. Well, it's time to get back into the social media montage. Let's start off way back on February 27th. The Matamidi Zephyrs boys basketball team had their annual senior night. Check out those cutouts of those seniors' heads. We've been seeing them at the Zephyrs basketball games all year. What a great way to show their creativity over there at Matamidi.
Yeah, kind of creepy, but I dig it. Our next tweet comes from Vintage Minnesota Hockey. February 28th, 2014 was the last date of the last ever game played at the historic Minnesota State Fair Coliseum over at the State Fairgrounds. It's a great venue, and we were actually there with TV19 on that last day. The footage of the game is on our On Location TV19 YouTube channel. The game winner was a crazy goal where the puck floated up over the top of the goalie without him even seeing the puck. So you definitely want to go check that out on YouTube.
Yeah, Sam, games just aren't the same at Aldrich Arena as they were at the Coliseum. So checking out our next tweet, the Matamidi hockey team hit the ice at about 2 p.m., an hour after their scheduled game time. They, of course, are in the quarterfinals of the Class A boys hockey tournament. We will show you the bracket later in the show.
We don't have any highlights of that game as it was from earlier this afternoon, but you can see on Twitter that Matamidi took the lead in the first period. We may tell you what happened a little bit later on in the show. But let's check out this vintage photo of head coach Jeff Poschel circa 1980, back to his playing days. What a great find there. You will see the rest of the state tournament brackets later in the show. So now, I guess, after the montage is over, we'll switch it over to basketball.
We'll take a look at those Metro East standings.
Yeah, and Matamidi, this is girls basketball. Matamidi picked up their first conference championship since the mid-90s. They went 13-1 in conference, 20-3 overall. Tartan finished at 7-7 in the Metro East, and as we've seen all year, this is a young team getting big contributions from underclassmen and even 8th graders, and the Titans should be a factor in the conference next year. Mott should be a good team again next year as well. They are losing their second leading scorer, Marissa Gustafson, but will return leading scorer Emma Grouthouse and Annika Sogstad, who averaged over 10 points a game as a junior.
Yeah, now we'll take a look at the Suburban East standings. As you can see, it was a close race in the Suburban East as 4 teams finished with an 11-5 conference record. So the Bears will be co-conference champs. Another trophy to add to the case. Congrats to Coach Jeremy Post. And so White Bear got a big win over Cretin-Durham Hall, 51-39 on February 17th to keep them in the running for conference champs. The Bears had a shot to win the conference outright after getting some help, but White Bear fell to Roseville 47-37 on the final day of the regular season, leading to the four-way tie at the top.
Yeah, so what is that, like conference champs or something like that? Hey, regardless, congrats to the Bears. Well, now we'll switch it over and look at section brackets. So this is section 4 3A, where Matamita got the 1 seed after their impressive 20-win regular season. Hill Murray got the 5 seed and lost to De La Salle in a play-in quarterfinal matchup. Saturday, De La Salle pulled off the big upset, though, beating Matamita and holding the Zephyrs to just 39 points. As we'll jump ahead, there it is. Emma Grouthouse was limited to 11 points, as Matamita was only able to score 16 in the second half. They did hang in there, played good defense, only giving up 18. But that was not enough, as De La Salle picked up the 2-point victory, as you see there. De La Salle will face off against St. Anthony in the section final tomorrow, and it'll be an underdog seed representing section 4-3A at the state tournament this year.
Yeah, so let's take a look at Section 4 4A bracket. White Bears' big win against Cretin gave them a lift going into the sections as they secured the 2 seed. Cretin got the 3 seed and got by Fab Fivers Tartan in a close one, 51-46. Zaria Whitlock scored 21 for the Titans in the losing effort. White Bear Lake took down St. Paul Central by 19 to set up a rematch with Cretin, the 3rd time these conference foes would be meeting this year. The Bears got the narrow victory, 56-53. White Bear Lake had 4 players in double figures, with Alexa Moline leading the way with 14. And the Bears will face Eastridge in that final game, trying to beat the Raptors for the first time this year. The game is tomorrow night at Hastings High School, so good luck to the White Bear Lake girls team. So now the girls done, we'll get into the boys bracket.
Yeah, actually, before the bracket, take a look at some standings, starting with Metro East. And after a few losses in the last couple weeks, Matamita did hold on to win the Metro East with the tiebreaker, as they got 2 wins over Tartan. After a couple suspensions and a 1-point loss to Hastings, it made their last game of the season, though, very crucial against North. They did pick up that win and got the conference championship, as I mentioned. Parker Fox finished 2nd in conference with a 23.3 points per game. He was 1st in rebounding with 8.8 per game, and he is going to have a great career at the next level going to Northern State. Now, good news, Capegel finished 3rd in points per game with 20.9 for North St. Paul. He is only a junior, and he got himself invited to the Howard Pulley Invitational Tournament, which is a huge amateur tournament here. Big thing for kind of high school prospects in the metro area, so big things coming from Good News. We've already seen a few here on TV 19.
Yeah, it definitely was an honor to watch those games this year. So let's get into the Suburban East standings. Eastridge and Woodbury finished atop the Suburban East standings. Very tough conference overall. Junior forward Michael Jones for Woodbury finished 1st in the conference, averaging 25 points per game. This guy's 6'4" and still has another year left of high school ball. Now look at University of Minnesota commit Cretin-Durham Hall, 6'10" forward Daniel Oturu. He averaged 19 points and 16 rebounds per game. Those are insane numbers. He's also just a junior. He led Cretin-Durham Hall to a 3rd place finish in your Fab 5. White Bear Lake finished at the bottom with a 4-12 conference record, 6-20 overall. Very difficult season for them.
Yeah, how about those numbers for Oturu? I feel like he's going to fit right in with that front court the Gophers currently have. But that is how things ended up in the regular season for our standings. We will take a look, though, now at the section playoffs, and this is the boys section 4-3A bracket, where you see Matamita got that number 1 seed. They will take on Hill Murray, the 8 seed, in the first round. Zephyrs did lose to Hill Murray in the same game and the same opening round last year. This is a very tough bracket. Columbia Heights, the 2 seed, is ranked 9th in 3A and actually beat Matamita at their home earlier in the year, 55-53. Totino Grace is a 4 seed and ranked 10th in 3A. So Matamita has definitely got a tough road ahead if they want to make it to that state title.
Yeah, so let's dig into a little bit of that Mott and Hill rematch. We'll dig in a little bit, which if you're watching right now is underway. And last year, Matamita, just like last year, this year, Matamita was the 1 seed, Hill Murray was the 8 seed. The game took place at Matamita, and in a colossal upset, Hill Murray won a nail-biter 59-58, Sam.
You got that right. You know, that was a huge upset. Hill Murray did lose 2 of their top 3 scorers from their game last year. But even so, I mean, well, even with that, Matamita should definitely win this game. I do not foresee Hill Murray pulling off that upset again this year. So I think the Zephyrs are going to do it. But as you mentioned, they're tipped off right now, and that game is underway. So exciting to see what happens.
Yeah, Simeon Davis can definitely stroke the ball, so they should watch out for that. But, you know, Matamita still has Parker Fox and Shane Frost. So now let's take a look at the 4A bracket.
Yeah, and there we see a couple Fab Five schools. Tartan takes the 3 seed. They will face off against St. Paul Central. Now, St. Paul Central finished with an 11-1 record in conference, but over 15-12 overall, so probably not playing in the strongest conference. If Tartan wins, they will likely take on Woodbury, which would be a very exciting matchup. You know, this is a tough section as well with Cretin, Woodbury, and that number 1 seeded Eastridge, also a very strong team, so good luck to the Titans and the Pullers in a tough section.
Yeah, so coming up, we do have hockey section tournaments. We'll take a look ahead to those, and then we'll take a look ahead to the state tournaments, all that coming up and more on TV 19 Sports.
Everywhere that we go, he makes people laugh and makes people smile, and I feel like I have that quality.
He's the one who always takes me fishing.
I watch golf with him. And
I watch him cook because when I grow up, I want to be a cook too.
We have the same faces like this.
Dad is the one, when you fall, that picks you up.
That unconditional sense of presence and reassurance is really what makes him my father.
Welcome back inside the studio, everybody. Sam Erickson, John Miller alongside you for this episode of Sports Path. Well, we got our basketball coverage out of the way, and we're going to get into the meat of our episode here, and that is the hockey postseason as things are really underway, and actually part of it's already concluded.
Yeah, let's look at the Section 4 AA bracket for girls hockey. Hill won easily with their first 2 matchups by a combined 10-1 score, and an all Fab 5 game, White Lake shut out North Tartan 4-0. Calla Frank stopping all 24 shots she faced. White Lake upset Mounds View in the semis with an overtime winner. Sydney Sheeran got that one. They won 2-1. Fab 5 matchup in the finals as Hill Murray defeated White Bear Lake 4-1, a game where you saw here on TV 19. And for the 6th straight year, Hill headed to the X for the state tournament.
Yeah, so congrats on Hill Murray. Unprecedented 6th straight section championship. Nice job there. So that's how things looked in section playoffs. Now we'll take a look at that Class 2A girls hockey state tournament bracket. And Hill Murray finished 3rd last year, losing in the semis to Maple Grove. They got the 3 seed this year and easily beat Eastview 4-1 in the opening round. Taylor Wemple had 2 goals, and Ava Bailey stopped 17 of 18 shots in that one. And they got a chance at the semis again this year, but unfortunately, their quest for a state title would end there, losing to Blaine 5-1. Hill would get a chance to keep playing, but the Pioneers lost in the 3rd place game to Eden Prairie, so Hill will finish the season in 4th place. And if you're wondering, Edina defeated Blaine for the 2A state championship.
Oh, very nice. So girls are done. Let's lead into the boys. Unfortunately, we don't have any highlights of the girls, so we're going to go straight into the boys' Metro East standings. No surprise to see Hill Murray and St. Thomas Academy at the top of the standings, as they are 2 of the strongest programs in the state. Fab Fivers round out the rest of the top 5 with Tartan, Matamidi, and North finishing 3, 4, and 5 in the standings respectively. Matamidi senior and Sports Path interview guest Luke Posner led the league with 27 goals, guiding the 1A Zephyrs into the tough Metro East.
That's things in the Metro East. This is how things ended up in the Suburban East, and just like that Metro East, this is one of the better hockey conferences in all the state. Stillwater won the conference, only losing once, and that was to White Bear Lake, 2-1 back on January 14th. The Bears nearly beat 2nd place Cretin, losing both games by a single goal. White Bear Lake finished 11-4-1 in conference, but very easily could have challenged for that conference title if a couple other results would have gone their way. The Bears should be strong again next year as leading scorers Mac Jenrick and Chase Hempstead return for their senior year.
Yeah, now we'll look at the 4A section bracket. Matamidi got the 2 seed in Section 4A, trying to avenge last year's semifinal loss. They were the 1 seed last year. They beat Metro East foe Henry Sibley in the first round and beat 3 seed St. Paul Johnson 4-1, sending the Zephyrs to the final. In the final, Matamidi would get the upset over St. Paul Academy 3-1. Thanks to a big second period, Zephyrs scored 3 in the second, including 1 by our boy Matt Finelli. Goalie Bailey Huber stopped 27 or 28 shots faced. So Matamidi will be heading back to the state after a disappointing end to their season a year ago. So congrats to the boys, and we'll maybe discuss their tourney results on the next Sports Path.
So that was Section 4 1A. Here's Section 4 2A, and we'll take a quick look at that. I promise you we got some highlights coming up quick. North St. Paul got the 8th seed in this bracket and breezed past Irondale in the play-in game, which we don't have up there in our graphic. I know the boys that we had in studio wanted to win a game in that section tournament, so congrats to them. Not sure if it was that play-in game, but regardless, congrats. They got a date with Stillwater because of that win, and we got highlights of that one courtesy of Valley Access Channels.
Yeah, so let's take you to Aldrich Arena, and let's get this game started, or at least the highlights. Shots off the turnover, gets redirected behind the net. Behind the net comes up number 9, Matthew Stanton, who puts it past Ben Herman in the goal. That'll be 1-0 Stillwater. And then the second goal will come off of some good work behind the net again. This time, number 11, Noah Cates. He had a spinorama goal last year, his first goal of the 4AA tournament this year. Makes it 2-0 Stillwater. And then less than 20 seconds later, number 22, TJ Sagasser, shoots the puck in on the net, gets his own rebound and passes across to number 19, Luke Manning. Scored 3-0 now, Ponies on top. And then we'll take you to an odd man rush for Stillwater with 20 seconds left in the period. Duck go over to Sagasser for an easy goal. They don't come much easier than that. 4-0 Ponies, 4 goals in the first period. So we'll move on to the second period now. Noah Cates here. This one looks a little more like his spinorama from last year. Cates beats the defender and backhands it in for the second goal of the tournament, 5-0 Stillwater. And then this time we'll have multiple Ponies hanging around the crease area. Rebound eventually goes to number 2, Joe Raleigh, netting his first goal of the game. 6-0 Ponies. That would create a running clock. And then we'll take you to a turnover near the end of the second period, which leaves the puck with the Ponies. Pass across to Sagasser, getting his second goal of the game. That's now 7-0 Ponies, and that's how that one would end up. 7-0 Ponies and a win over the North Polars. The North Polars had a great start to the season, but in the end, it would be like it would be for them for quite some time, a loss in the 4AA quarterfinals. Now with that over, we'll take a look at those quarterfinals. So Stillwater easily gets past North. Hill Murray also easily defeated Roseville in their quarterfinal matchup. The big game of the quarterfinals and a game we broadcasted right here on TV 19 was a Fab 5 matchup between White Bear Lake and Tartan, as we mentioned, as we did in that game on TV 19. We got the highlights to prove it, and Sam's going to take it away.
I sure will, John. There's a look at Aldrich Arena. So Tartan and White Bear, 6 seed versus 3 seed. A lot of people thought Tartan might pull off the upset in this one. White Bear getting the first chance, as you just saw. Another good chance for White Bear in the first. This one really close. Jenrick shot. Pagonski deflects. That one sailed up and landed on top of the net rather than in back of it. So Tartan survives a scare there. Another big save from Pagonski. That one sailed to the far side crowd over the boards. And the first period it ended 0-0. White Bear out shooting Tartan 10-5. Picking things up in the second period, still scoreless. Kind of off on the right side of your screen. A cross-check was the call there, giving White Bear Lake their first power play of the game. These two teams kind of came in with identical power plays, but it was Tartan with a chance on the shorthand. Can't get it off the stick, though, and White Bear Lake survives themselves a scare. Penalty coming up a little bit later. This time it will go against White Bear Lake, putting Tartan on the power play for the first time, but that won't last long as you see a Tartan player dragging a Bear player to the ice. So for a moment, we'd have 4-on-4 hockey. This would open things up, and White Bear getting an excellent opportunity here. You see Pagonski kind of cheating down. He looks like he wants to fall on the puck. I think if the White Bear player would have just flipped it over him, maybe he could have scored. Pagonski keeps him out and keeps that score at 0-0 going into the third period. And in the third period, we finally get a goal. That is Metro East leading scorer Sam Lindahl, number 15 for Tartan, not giving up on this play. Fighting off the defender. Still fighting for it and just sneaking it in that post. Parenteau, the goalie for White Bear, didn't quite have his pad nestled up against that post. Just enough space for Lindahl to sneak it in. And the Tartan faithful are going nuts there. 5 minutes left to go. White Bear a huge chance to tie it up, but Pagonski denies Jenrick again. And White Bear a couple minutes later denied again by Pagonski. Kid came to play as he keeps it 1-0. Empty net here. Last few seconds, they tick off, and Tartan pulls off the improbable upset with the 1-0 win. White Bear outshot the Titans 29-15 in the game, but couldn't come up with that goal. Pagonski, the huge shutout with 29 saves. And once again, as I said, it was a 1-0 game. Exciting stuff. I was there. So congrats to Tartan. But White Bear Lake, they kind of came out weak in that game, and they really came on strong when they got scored on. Unfortunately, that was, kind of midway through the third period. John, I think if that first goal that we saw that kind of flipped up, ended up on top of the net. If they would have scored that one, I think it could have been a whole different game because they would have had the lead.
Yeah, I definitely think so, Sam. I mean, you get a little momentum going, especially in the playoffs or playoff hockey. Who knows what can happen after that? But I'm starting to think upsets are going to be the current theme for our Fab Five hockey teams.
Yeah, and it was like a whole different team once they got scored on. So that you got to wonder where that sense of urgency was, and if they would have got that goal, maybe things could have been different.
Yeah. So unfortunately, White Bear Lake comes up a little short. But again, what an effort by the Tartan team and those seniors. Tartan moves on to the semis, where they would have to face the 2-seed Hill Murray. Tartan tied Hill Murray early in the season, but the Pioneers won the second meeting between the two. We were on hand for this one, and we'll get to those highlights. So we'll take you to the highlights of Tartan versus Hill Murray at Aldrich Arena. Hill Murray would start out coming out strong as they always do. An early goal with about 6 minutes by Mike Fleischacker puts the Pioneers up 1-0 early on in the first period. And then Hill Murray would double their lead eventually by a goal by Brock Bramer. He puts a little move on between his legs and then tries to center it for Joey Petronacki. Somehow the puck goes in on the centering pass. Now we'll slow it down for you just a little bit. You can see the puck actually deflects off Paganski's skate to get in the net. Score 2-0 now off an interesting goal by Brock Bramer. And then Beg Helgeson rings one in out the crossbar midway through the third period. It is now 3-0, and then Helgeson finds one a few seconds later. Jackson Urner takes the initial shot, but here's a low angle. You can see that Helgeson bats it in for a 3-0 lead over Tartan. And then we'll take you to late in the third from the corner. Brock Bramer comes away with it and fires it past Paganski. Top left corner, there it is. 4-0 lead now, and then we'll take you to the puck down low in the corner with about a minute to go. Ken Boblitz puts the nail in the coffin for the Titans. Troy Tischler passes it in front of the net for Boblitz. Boblitz rocks it past Paganski. That's 5-0 lead for Hill Murray. No chance for Tartan at that point. A little less celebration when Hill Murray beats Tartan than when Tartan upsets White Bear Lake. So let's take a look at the standings now in the 4AA bracket. Stillwater defeats Woodbury 5-1 in their semi, and Hill's 5-0 win over Tartan sets up the final, a rematch from last year. And as we were last year, we were of course there this year. So you can guess what's coming next. Sam with the highlights.
You're darn right, and we have those highlights courtesy of Valley Access Channels. That one at Aldrich Arena, like this whole Section 4 2A tournament. And last year was a scoreless affair into overtime, a 1-0 victory for Stillwater. Fans had to wait a while for a goal. This one a little bit different. A minute 25 in, Noah Cates, just like he ended last year, gets the goal here. This one comes after some good patience on a wraparound, and it's 1-0 to the Ponies. Only 5 minutes later, Brock Bramer ties it up at 1. Helgeson has the first shot, and Seth Isley thinks he has the puck covered, but Bramer is there to net the goal, and we are all square. And the Pioneers in black are amped. 7:29 into the second period. Pioneers will go on that 2-on-1 rush. They'll pass it back and forth a little bit. And eventually the puck ends up in the net. Coaches are going to want to talk this one over, but the referees end up getting it right. Score is 2-1 Pioneers. Now face off from that goal. Pioneers work it back a little bit, then push it forward. And they will get a quick shot off. Goalie doesn't even know what's coming. And just 12 seconds after their last one, Kyler Yo makes it 3-1 for the Pioneers. Huge momentum swing in this Section 2A championship game. Stillwater not done, though. From behind the net, hesitating and getting it past the goalie, Luke Manning comes away and fires it in to make it 3-2. Pioneers still with that narrow lead, but Stillwater coming back, and you see the comeback complete there as they tie it up. Thomas Bruku scores on a long shot up top, deflects off a Hill Murray player and into the net. And as I said, we're all knotted up at 3, but Hill Murray would take that lead back in the third period. As 7 minutes to go, they get a goal. Isley again thought he could freeze the puck, but Hill Murray pounces on it to take the 1-goal lead. Now getting late on in the game, empty net time. Hill Murray, that one from right around the red line, center ice. Probably would have been icing if it didn't hit the back of the net. It does, and that makes it 5-3 Pioneers. So they're probably booking their ticket to XL. They're going to make it official here with another empty netter. That makes it 6-3, so a lot more scoring than last year. And this is the final moments, and there's the celebration as Hill Murray wins the Section 4 2A section tournament, avenging their overtime loss from last year. This game is nothing new as these two teams have met for the last 4 years in the section final, and the Pioneers are going to the state hockey tournament for the 29th time in school history. Pretty crazy stuff. Nice job by Hill Murray there.
Yeah, that Hill Murray team's always very good, Sam, every year in and year out.
Yeah, so I said they got that win, avenging last year's loss. And Will Sontag had 2 goals, Ben Helgeson with 2 assists in that one, and that is how they got to the state tournament. We're going to have 2 Fab 5 representatives in the state tournament, and because of that, I think we'll start looking at those tournament brackets.
Yeah, let's take a look at the Class A state bracket. Delano upset by Monticello Andel Maple Lake 3-2. A goal was overturned after reviewed for offsides. I think that was the first play ever reviewed in high school hockey history. And Matamidi faced off against Northfield at about 2 p.m. Unfortunately for your Fab Fivers, Zephyrs 3-1 Northfield would be the score there. And Matamidi, that would be the end of their season, but I wouldn't be surprised to see number 1 seeded Hermantown run the table with all these upsets. Highlights of the Matamidi quarterfinal game that I just talked about coming up on our next Sports Path on March 22nd.
So that's Class A. They are underway. Class AA gets started tomorrow, and Hill got the 6 seed and will face 3 seed Moorhead in their opening game. Moorhead had a very good season, going 19-3-3, and were ranked number 10 in the final polls of the season on March 1st. Metro East rival St. Thomas Academy got the 2 seed, and number 1 ranked Eden Prairie is definitely the favorite after the teams ranked 2 through 5 lost in section playoffs. Now, Hill might be an underdog in this one, but they might not mind that after upsetting Stillwater in the section final. That opening game, of course, is tomorrow at 1 p.m. down at the XL Energy Center. So exciting times here in Minnesota, and we wish the best of luck to the Pioneers as they try and bring home that state title.
Yeah, go Pioneers. So it's that time to look at our athletes of the week again. For male athlete, I have to go with senior guard number 23, Simeon Davis out of Hill Murray. His team may have not done well at all this year, but he led the state with 30.9 points per game. Really hadn't focused on him much. As I talked about, Hill Murray had a poor record. But here's your recognition for a fantastic year. He'll have his hands full tonight, right now, versus Matamidi in the section opener. And for female athlete of the week, I have to go with North St. Paul guard number 23, Alexis Pratt. Pratt averaged 16 points per game against a very tough Metro East Conference. Did I mention she's also just an 8th grader? She impressed me a lot this year and is surely to be a force by the time she is a senior. So congratulations to you two, well deserved. And Simeon Davis, I wonder what that score is between Matamidi right now, as we talked about with the upset last year, Sam.
I was going to say, John, I'm real excited for once we can get off air here. I'm going to jump on Twitter or whatever, see what that score is, as that's a big matchup. I mean, usually an 8 versus a 1 seed, it's kind of a foregone conclusion that 1 seed is going to win. But that game last year is kind of in the back of my mind, so you never know. So excited to see where that ends up. And we're going to have some upcoming broadcasts. Hopefully, if Matamidi can get that result, we are going to do that Section 4 3A championship on March 16. Now, that is only if Matamidi plays in it. You know, they got to be a Fab 5 school for us to be there. Matamidi is that 1 seed, so if everything goes right, we will be there. But can't say for sure just yet.
Yeah, we're kind of hoping Matamidi takes this one away. I know we have high hopes for them to win the state, just like Tartan, 2 teams that could very well take it away. But let's talk about what we'll be covering in the spring. We have lacrosse Ultimate Frisbee broadcast coming. I know you had a good time with that Ultimate Frisbee that we just started doing last year, Sam.
Yeah, I think we're going to be getting out to a lot more of those Frisbee games this year. Real easy for us to do those broadcasts, and kind of a growing sport in this area. And it kind of, it's real exciting, good spectator sport, so look out for that. You know, I know we're going to get real involved with White Bear. They've got a great program over there, as well as Matamidi, so excited for that. I want to tell you about some of the content. If you may have missed it, always check out our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter to get links to the games that we've done, as well as some other content and episodes of Sports Path that you may have missed because you're out watching section playoff games. Well, I think that should just about do it for us. We will see you on the next episode of Sports Path on March the 22nd. I want to thank you for watching, and for all of us here at TV19. We will see you next time.
A restaurant
his 25th of the season. 7.5 to go. Titans lead 1-0.